All right, everybody, welcome back to the Xavier Klein Coaches Series here on Madden 24. We are now in the 2024 draft. Our team is set up for this one. I really believe that we have some good players on this team. When you look at how we have set up this squad, I think we're designed to have some opportunity to have some BPA options. There are definitely some positions we have to pay attention to, right? The center position is actually going to be okay, as Connor Williams is just out currently right now with an injury, so he'll be back in time along with Mike Williams. But it doesn't mean that we have to stop in these areas. We have to consider some options here as far as how we're going to have backups. I think, we did grab some depth in the free agency with Jonah Williams in the tackle position, but outside of that, there are some areas of opportunity we have to take into account. Tight end group, it's not the greatest, it's not the most spectacular, which is why we may have to consider maybe even looking at a draft pick in the early round with maybe a tight end. Running back position also needs some help, so we have to consider that. As far as the defense, I don't think there really is much more I have to be worried too much about. We can look at some depth in the outside linebacker position. We could look at some potential depth in the safety role, but corner is definitely a need for these Chargers. I'm just hoping, we play smart, we do the right things, and allow ourselves to just let the draft come to us. But, it's going to take some time, and hopefully we can make this work here. So just a little bit of a reminder, here's what we did in this year's free agency. We actually did not have much cap, so we went through a couple different things. In stage 2, we did not do anything in stage 3 due to the cap issues. We restructured Derwin James' contract to allow us to snag up players like Jonah Williams, Irv Smith, Darnell Savage, and Tyler Tart. In the first stage, we actually went ahead and just snagged up some players that I felt could really help us out. Moving Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa to the defensive line roles is allowing us to actually snag up some players in the O-line and bring in a very good player, in my opinion, from the Browns and Sion Takitaki. So we upgraded the offensive line and we helped out with a little bit of the defense. So again, all these free agency pickups are giving us opportunities to snag up best player available at certain times. But there are definitely some needs on this team we have to think about. Running back, linebacker, cornerback, tight end. There's just a lot of opportunities here, so we have to pay attention to that. We have about $4 million in cap space after this draft, so we're gonna have to really think sparingly with who we decide to bring in this upcoming preseason free agency. Another thing to keep in mind, warning, the draft order is messed up. When you advance from the wild card checkpoint, the draft order is messed up as the game doesn't take into account strength and schedule. So certain players may get picked up in certain spots. You're talking about the Cardinals should be number 4 and the Commanders should be number 2. And with the Titans and the Giants, they should actually be flipped as well. So just a little bit of a heads up there. And it looks like also the Falcons and the Bears should be flipped too. So just want to give you all a heads up on that. In this series, I'm not going to change anything because I think based on some of the movements, we're actually going to see some surprises, more specifically the QB. We may see Caleb Williams fall based on some of the actions that we've been seeing in this year's. Mr. Caleb decided not to participate in the combine, which I think is created a result of him not falling in this year's draft. So we got to take that into account, man. Like I said, I know what we can do in the Big Blue Dynasty series. We'll try to make sure we update the order there. But here, based on how far we've moved so far in this series, I'd like to just kind of keep going and work with what we have. The settings are, as I stated before, are going to be default settings. We'll be doing 12-minute clock with 20-second runoff. It'll be all pro default settings, but the XP sliders will be Mr. Hurricane sliders. If you are looking for maybe some auto sub sliders, these are the ones that I currently am using right now just to see how it feels. And we'll kind of see if maybe substitutions do occur. There was an update, from what I understand, in the last auto update that helped with fatigue, so maybe we'll see some of that happen in this upcoming preseason agency. Oh, preseason, excuse me. So without further ado, we're going to keep it rocking here, and hopefully we'll see some good things. Let's jump into this year's draft and let's see what happens. So the first pick in the draft is going to the Chicago Bears. They could do many different things here, but I believe this is probably more than likely going to be Marvin Harrison based on the current mocks. Let's see what happens here. So with the first pick in the draft, it will be going to the Bears. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be helping out Mr. Justin Fields there. What I really like about the makeup of this team, though, the Bears actually have some really good players setting up Justin Fields to succeed, right? So with Fields there, you're talking about the halfback being Ezekiel Elliott now, paired up with Khalil Herbert. You even have Roschon Johnson there to help out. But the wide receiver group has just gotten even more spectacular. You got DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and Odell Beckham Jr. will be there. And they're going to help along Marvin Harrison Jr. for sure. The tight end group is only Cole Kmet, so I could see them trying to look to draft that. But I think this is a really good deal for them. Their O-line got improved with the center and Mitch Morse. And they have Tevin Jenkins at right guard, and they got Darnell Wright at right tackle. I'm really looking at this Nate Davis move here, them moving Tevin Jenkins to right guard. I'm wondering if there could be an opportunity even for us to potentially snag him up and move Robert Hunt over to right tackle when Pimpkins is gone. So that might be something for us to look at in the future. The Cardinals are up next, and the Cardinals are going to take Jared Verse. So this is a little bit of a surprise for me. I didn't expect them to go with Jared Verse. I thought maybe they would try to snag up something else, but with Marvin Harrison gone, it kind of maybe makes a little sense for them to upgrade the defense. You got the halfback right now in James Conner and Michael Carter, but the wide receiver group is Keenan Allen getting snagged up with Rondale Moore and Michael Wilson. So they need wide receivers as Marquise Brown is gone. They got Trey McBride here. DJ Humphries is still there. So they got Dalton Reisner. And, I think that's a good move for them. Their defensive line is definitely in need of some help, but they do have Jadeveon Clowney. So there's going to be some good things here for them. Definitely wondering what's going to happen with BJ Ojolari there. But good move for the Cardinals in this first pick in the first round. Patriots are up, and they're going to go Olu Fashanu. Now, here's the one that's crazy for me. Patriots have no quarterback on the roster. When you look at the Patriots, they are just saying, you know what, let's get the best player available. They have Devontae Parker, Juju. They brought in Robert Woods. They brought back Hunter Henry. But yeah, their tackles are in need. They're going to have to figure out who is going to step up. They have good veterans. So maybe that was the right move for them, just stacking up the O-line. And this might actually work out for them considering Drake May has fallen out of the last mock. So maybe they're hoping that they get Drake May at the end of this thing. Commanders are up, and they're going to go Joe Alt. This is another head scratcher for me here, right? This is a new regime for the Commanders. You would think they would go quarterback, as Sam Howell hasn't been the greatest of things. But when you look at the setup here for Sam Howell, they got Brian Robinson. Wide receivers, they brought in Michael Pittman. Jahan Dotson's here still with McLaren. And then your tight end is Mike Gesicki. So the only thing that's probably needed is an O-lineman. Now, they got Charles Leno. I'm wondering if maybe they are thinking about moving maybe Leno to the left guard position. And now that they have Joe Alt, maybe that's what they're doing. But we're up here. Now, the mock is saying us to take a right tackle. Realistically, it doesn't make sense for us to do that knowing that we extended Trey Pipkins before our regime came in. So I don't see myself making that decision there. When it comes down to it, I have to think about other options here, right? You got Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. We got Dallas Turner out here. We could snag up a really legit linebacker to help solidify that defense. We could snag up a wide receiver now if we really wanted to. We could even snag up probably the projected best corner in this year's draft and really kind of solidify that. So there's a couple different options here that I'm hoping to, work through. But I'm thinking our move we're going to make right now, I think let's check out the weapons here. Let's go for it. We're going to go Brock Bowers. Top 5 pick isn't necessarily tied to a tight end, but I think this guy's got some great things. I was torn here, but Brock Bowers to me is the right move. Welcome to the team, Brock Bowers. Hidden development, 84 speed, 90 acceleration, 82 change of direction, and 87 jumping. I think this guy's got all the aspects of being a very nasty weapon. He can even play slot at times too, so that might be something we mess with in this year's preseason, kind of see where we can put him around and maybe see him kind of blow up. So let's get it going, Brock Bowers. Welcome to the Chargers. So what we're going to do in this first draft is we're just going to make sure that we check out who gets drafted in the first round, but then we will sim to our picks moving forward to kind of keep things moving along here. I don't want this episode to be too long, but I also don't want to know every pick, as we are using this draft class for another series. Titans are up now, and they're going to go Jerzon Newton. I would think O-line, but I think they snagged up Tyron Smith for left tackle, so maybe they feel like they're in an okay spot. This is a new regime. Jeffrey Simmons needs a new partner there. It's been pretty much him on the D-line, and that's pretty much it. So we snagged up Tyler Tart, so they no longer have that guy. The Giants are up, my favorite team, and they're going to go Talais Fuaga. He was projected to go to us. We let him go, and they're saying, you know what? We're going to snag up Talais Fuaga. We're going to make sure we have him. Evan Neal, we wish you the best of luck. We hope maybe they move him to another spot, but with the Giants, they're just saying, hey, we can't go QB right now. We got Daniel Jones. Let's just be smart here. Jets are up, and the Jets snag up Caleb Williams. What is this, dude? Caleb Williams was projected to fall into the Raiders' hands in the mock. But with us snagging up Brock Bowers, I think things got moved around. Caleb Williams is going to get an opportunity to be behind freaking Aaron Rodgers, man. This is a crazy decision right here, but Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play forever. I would think O-line, but I think they extended Mekhi Becton. Let's check out their roster. So with the Jets, they don't have a quarterback behind Aaron Rodgers, so I guess he's going to be doing his thing there. You're looking at a halfback right now. They got A.J. Dillon backing up Breece Hall. Wide receiver group, they picked up Marquise Hollywood Brown to pair up with Garrett Wilson. They still got Lazard, and they snagged up Minnesota's receiver KJ Osborne. So their wide receiver group's in a decent spot. They still got a reliable tight end in Tyler Conklin. CJ Uzomah's not a bad guy, and they got Jeremy Ruckert. Left tackle is not Mekhi Becton. So they got Josh Jones. He was a backup that was traded from the Cardinals to the Texans, playing left tackle. They got no left guard. They got Joe Tippmann at center, Elijah Vera Tucker at right guard, and then they have Becton at right tackle. So very interesting decision here. You would think they would try to go after another spot, but I honestly think that the Jets are pretty good everywhere. And then he snagged up Kyle Duggar. My goodness, Duggar and Whitehead at safety. The DB group's in a good space. And yeah, drafting a guard this early maybe is not the right move to do. So they snagged up the best player available. He's going to be playing in a great town. He won't be starting anytime soon, but that's an interesting move right there for the Jets. Falcons are up, and they're going to go Terrion Arnold. They need someone to pair up with A.J. Terrell. I guess they're not going quarterback. Pretty interesting there that they decide to move on from that. I would have thought they would have went another route, but I guess Drake May is not the guy for them. Bears are up now, and the Bears are going to be taking Dallas Turner. So they get Marvin Harrison Jr., and they snag up the best linebacker in this year's draft, or the projected best linebacker. So good move for the Bears there. They get an offensive weapon, and they get a defensive skill player. You're looking at the Vikings now, and the Vikings, surprisingly, right? They got JJ over there. You would think maybe they would do more weapons for Kirk, but they're just going to roll with Leatu Latu. This guy's got some issues, you know, similar to what you had with Jalen Phillips with some injury issues in the college, but he's pretty solid, right? So you got Kirk Cousins there. Their halfback is Austin Eckler and Devin Singletary, so their running back group is really clean. Jordan Addison's still there, and they brought in Darnell Mooney to replace KJ. Osborne, not a bad decision right there. They still got the Hawk, their tackle in Darisaw. They got Ezra Cleveland still, Bradbury, Ingram, so the O-line and O'Neal. So the O-line staying together, good move there. You would think D-line would be an option, but maybe they're cool with Daniil Hunter there, and their linebacker positions kind of mid, but you got Deion Jones, you got Elandon Roberts. That's not a bad linebacker group. And Van Ginkel. This is actually a pretty good group. Vikings could be very dangerous here, so Latu is going to help them out. They do need some help on the D-line. Broncos are up here, and they let Russell Wilson go, who is now with the Las Vegas Raiders. What do? They grab a corner. They snag up Nate Wiggins, who's going to pair up with Patrick Surtain. This is another team that has no quarterback on the roster. Patriots and the Broncos have no quarterback on the roster. So this is an interesting move here. Now, Caleb was projected to go to the Raiders in the last mock. Caleb gets snagged up from the Jets. What do the Raiders do here? They go Drake May! So they're saying, you know what? We need, like, Russell Wilson isn't the end-all be-all. We spent $20+ million on him. He is not the end-all be-all for us. Let's make sure our future's set. Give Drake May a chance to kind of settle in as a rookie, and then let him roll when the time is right. Not a bad decision there. Colts are up, and they snag up Jaden Daniels. What are the Colts doing, bro? You already drafted Anthony Richardson. Why are you drafting another quarterback? That is insane to me, man. Anthony Richardson is already there. Colts are just saying, you know what, maybe we made a mistake. This is crazy. So where does Anthony Richardson go? That's got to be a weird decision in the upcoming draft, for an upcoming preseason free agency, but Colts are the Colts. Saints are up, and they're going to go Jordan Morgan, left tackle there. They're trying to figure that part out, as Trevor Penning ain't it. Troy Fautanu, left guard for the Jaguars. They got to get that O-line right. They have the weapons. Calvin Ridley extended with them. They got Christian Kirk. They got Trevor Lawrence. They got Travis Etienne. They got a group. They just got to make it all fall together. Peterson's got some work to do. Bengals are up now, and they're going to go right tackle Amarius Mims. They spent a whole lot of money on Orlando Brown, who's a former Chiefs tackle. So they need to continue to protect Joe Burrow, as he's still running around with his head cut off when it comes to dealing with pressure. So I don't think that's a bad move for them. And this is the move I was waiting to see. Michael Penix Jr. He was in the national championship game. They got Geno Smith, but they need an heir apparent there. I think this is an amazing move for the Seahawks. Pete Carroll's no longer there, so they're saying, you know what? We need to think about our future. Penix has fallen. Why not snag him up? Buccaneers are up now, and the Buccaneers are going to take defensive end Braylon Trice. The Buccaneers went ahead and extended Baker Mayfield, so in this series, so now they have a pretty good defense rebuild situation there. Vita Vea is legit on that D-line, but they don't have much after that. They extended Mike Evans, so good job for the Bucs there. There goes the Rams. They snag up a corner here in Cooper DeJean. You cannot doubt this man's talent. This guy is versatile. He not only can play corner, he can play safety if they wanted him to. He could play punt returner. So they got themselves a specialist, just like they snagged up in somebody who was very gritty in Puka Nacua. So this is a good move for the Rams. They could take a little bit more out of Cooper Kupp. They got a little bit more time with Aaron Donald. Let's just see if they can take this thing further here, being the other Los Angeles team. But that's a good move for the Rams. Steelers are up, and they're going to go tackle J.C. Latham, one of the better tackles in this year's draft. I don't think that's a bad move for them. I don't think it's time for them to reset with Kenny Pickett. I think they're just going to have to figure out how to make it all work. It's not a bad team. It really isn't. I would think defense would have been an option here. There are some players that are pretty decent, but J.C. Latham ain't a bad player there. Texans are up, and this isn't their pick. This is a pick that they got from another team, and they snag up a ridiculous player, bro. Malik Neighbors fell all the way to 22. So you got Malik Neighbors paired up with Nico Collins and freaking Tank Dell for the freaking phenom of CJ Stroud. Dude, this is going to be sick. Now, they don't have Devin Singletary. Let's check out where their roster stands right now. So you got Stroud, who's a freak. They got Dameon Pierce still, so they let Singletary go. They're going to rock with Pierce, but and Mechie still on this team too. Very good group, man. Dalton Schultz and Brevin Jordan. Their O-line is, in my opinion, still very solid. Their defense is ridiculous. Oh, they got Bryce Huff. My goodness, dude. My goodness. Ooh, this is going to be a very good team, man. We're probably going to have to see this team blow up in this upcoming season here. Chiefs are up. Chiefs did not make it far. They beat the Dolphins, but they couldn't make it any further there. Let's see what they do here. Kamari Lassiter. They snag up another corner. Trent McDuffie's legit. I would think they would maybe think about a weapon, but maybe they're okay with what they have here. The Chiefs still got Patrick Mahomes, who's a freak. They got Pacheco. Their wide receivers are Rashee Rice, Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman, Sky Moore. So yeah, maybe they're okay. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought it would be. They got Travis Kelce. I would think left guard, but there isn't crazy left guards that are rated in this year's draft, first round. So yeah, their defense is still ridiculous. Oh my gosh, they got a great team, man. What a build over there in Kansas City. The Cowboys are up. They lost early in the playoffs, and they snag up a left tackle here. They don't have Tyron Smith, so they need something there. Snagging up one of the better left tackles in this year's draft, not a bad move. So good move for them. Cardinals next pick. That's their second pick in the draft, and they're going Kool-Aid McKinstry. So they snagged up an O-lineman. Now they're snagging up a corner. I don't think that's a bad deal for them. Gannon's a very good defensive-minded coach, so could be good for them. Lions are up. They snag up a corner. Quinyon Mitchell. Good move for them. They don't really got to do much on the offensive side. They got all the weapons they need there. It's good that they're starting to build up this defense. Graham Barton snagged up there at right guard. All the tackles are gone. The Trent Williams has retired in this series, so they're going to have to build that lineup and hopefully keep Purdy safe. The Ravens are up, and they snag up Kalen King. Great move for them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that decision. Ravens really don't have to do much. They got their guys on offense. All right? They got Mark Andrews. They got J.K. Dobbins. They got Lamar Jackson. They got Rashad Bateman. They got Zay Flowers. They're fine. This is a very good move for them. Packers are up now, and they're going to snag up Leonard Taylor, defensive tackle. It's a normal decision for the Packers. They don't ever really do much on the offensive side, except maybe an O-lineman, but they rarely go offense. So Packers snagging up a defensive lineman, continuing to grow there. I think they got their QB in Jordan Love, so we'll see what happens. Dolphins are up, and the Dolphins take Chop Robinson. They got injury concerns, right, in this playoffs. Chop Robinson could be a rotational guy that can help out with Jalen Phillips and Chubb, recovering from their injuries. So good move for them. And the runner-ups, the Eagles, are going to go ahead and snag up Rome Odunze. They got A.J. Brown. They got Devontae Smith. They're just saying, let's keep giving Jalen Hurts more weapons. Not a bad move for them. And the Super Bowl champion Buffalo Bills are going to snag up Chris Braswell, left outside linebacker from Alabama. Good move for them. So not a bad play there. We're going to go ahead and start skipping to get ourselves to our pick. Pick 5. So the previous Commanders picked up. Commanders snag up free safety Tyler Nubin. So what's out there for us, right? We snagged up Brock Bowers. There's still some pretty good wide receivers out there. Adonai Mitchell is one of them. Troy Franklin is another one. Keon Coleman just ain't it for me, and Brian Thomas, I just don't feel that comfortable. I really like Adonai Mitchell at this spot. Corner wouldn't be a bad spot as well. Just not a fit for us. We could snag up a tackle now if I really wanted to, but we do have Jonah Williams as a backup, so I'm not upset there. I wouldn't be mad about a defensive tackle here, as we do have Tyler Tart, but we don't have much after that. You got Covington backing in the interior, so Devondre Sweat could be really nice here. A linebacker wouldn't be a bad deal as well. We do have a need there, so I got to think about that. I wouldn't be upset with someone like Byron Murphy here too. So there's some really good players here, but I think you know, I'd like to see if we can keep giving some more weapons for our dog, Mr. Herbert, right? We gave him Brock Bowers. Do we give him another weapon here and Adonai Mitchell, or someone maybe like Troy Franklin? Maybe a bigger target like Xavier Leggett. This guy is a big target, 6'2", 227. He's a big dog. He's pretty fast, pretty agile, and Xavier Leggett could be the dog. When it comes down to it, I want to snag up who I was scouting initially, right? For our private workouts, I was looking at someone like Devondre Sweat from Texas. I think this is a very good player. He could really help us out initially. He's considered probably one of the better interior pressures. Him paired up with Tyler Tart. We got Mack and Bosa alongside him. I think this is a good move for us. 22 years old, a little older, but I think this is a very good player, man. Devondre Sweat, he's a big guy, 6'4", 361. I'm looking forward to having this guy on the team. Welcome to the team, Devondre Sweat. Norm Dev, 91 strength, but I think this is a good pick for the Chargers. You get Brock Bowers at tight end to help out Herbert. Now you got to think about that defense. That defense is getting depleted with, which is older guys. So we got to start infusing some youth in there, and that D-line is so needed right now. So good move for us, in my opinion. Devondre Sweat's a great player, and I think Los Angeles has got a great guy there. We're going to advance to the next pick here. It looks like the Commanders snag up a Blake Fisher right tackle there out of Notre Dame. Now, depth could be a thing here, but check this out. Look who's still out there. Troy Franklin and Xavier Leggett. You got Xavier Worthy out there. This is a speedster here out of Texas. He's the fastest cat out there, man. That wouldn't be a bad move, and he's a scheme fit. We got bigger wide receivers. I think it's good to snag up someone with some speed that could really help us out. And Xavier Worthy with freaking Justin Herbert would be amazing. This guy's got 4.3 speed. He's agile as heck, and you're talking about a guy who should be able to surprise everybody out there. Deep threat. This is the move I think we can rock. He's smaller, but we don't really have that on the roster, so I'd like to see if we can get this done. Welcome to the team, Xavier Worthy. 94 speed, 94 acceleration, and he's got hidden dev. This is a great move for us. We get a generational talent in Brock Bowers at tight end, and now we snag up a guy in the third round in Xavier Worthy. Whoo, baby! Herbert should succeed with Xavier Klein's regime, in my opinion. I think we're doing all the right things for this dog. Next pick is coming up here in the fourth round. Brandon Coleman gets snagged up right there for the Commanders. So we're up. Let's see what's out there. You got some good players still. Wide receivers out there still doing their thing. In my opinion here, I think it's the time for us to snag up a corner. Max Melton out of Rutgers. He is a scheme fit. He's one of the top fits for the Chargers projected. This guy's pretty agile. He can jump. You're talking about a dude who can accelerate, get to the ball. He's an attacker. I think this is a guy that could really pair up well with Asante Samuel. So this is not a difficult move for us, man. This is an easy decision here. Welcome to the team, Max Melton. 92 speed, 92 acceleration, 88 change in direction. He's 22 years old. He's now going to be paired up with our dog, Asante Samuel. This is a good move for us. We got two good safeties now in Derwin James and Darnell Savage. Now we got two good young corners in Asante Samuel and Max Melton. Next pick coming for us, it looks like Jace McKellen from Alabama gets snagged up for the Commanders. So this is where we could look at, best available. I think I want to go with Will Drew out of Virginia State. Bigger guy, but we need some more depth in the corner position here, and I'm not upset about that. I'd like to make sure we do this one right here in Will Drew. 91 speed, 91 acceleration, 84 change of direction. Not the strongest guy, so he's not going to be pressing as much. But again, it's about buffing up this defense and putting us in the right spot for the future. I'm not upset about that one, man. let's see what happens here in this upcoming round. Nathaniel Watson gets snagged up. I'm wondering what we decide to do in this pick. So the player I'm looking at right now for the Chargers would be Devontae Walker. He's fallen pretty far. Coming out of North Carolina, he paired up very well with Drake May. And with a 4.4 speed here, good 3-cone drill, I think this guy could be pretty solid for us in the 6th round. He's projected to be at 2nd and 3rd. So this happens from time to time as wide receivers do fall. But I think this is the guy for us. Hit and dab, baby! 91 speed, 91 acceleration, 87 change of direction. So we snagged up another find here. Another gem for Justin Herbert. And Quentin Johnston, we're going to see if this guy works out for us. But if he doesn't, man, him, Joshua Palmer, Mike Williams, if they don't work out, we just gonna have to pivot as an organization and move on. And I wouldn't be upset with moving on from those two players right there, Mike Williams and Quentin Johnston. I think Palmer's a decent find, but I think those two, we could probably get like maybe a 4th rounder for Quentin Johnston to a team that needs somebody. Mike Williams, we could trade him to a team that might be playoff ready if we feel it's time to move on too. Or preseason, we'll see how it works out. But that's a good move for us. We snagged up best player available, right? Get to kind of retool that wide receiver group, see how they look like in this upcoming free agency. Last pick of the draft for the for the Chargers. I think this is the right move for us. 23 years old, Adam Marshall. Last pick for us. I think this could be a very good player here. Rasheen Ali, 92 speed, 92 acceleration. So we get a speedster here, in my opinion, to help out these Chargers. I think we have a pretty good draft, man. Now, we didn't get a linebacker in this year's draft, and it is what it is, but I think we got some good players. Tui and freaking Sion Takitaki are going to be just fine. And if we got to have Khalil Mack or Bosa kind of play that at certain positions, I think I'm okay with that too. So all in all, I think we had a very good draft for these Chargers. I think they did all the right things. And let's kind of summarize and see where we're at with it, right? So when you look at the draft recap here, the following players were snagged up. Brock Bowers, 77 overall. You're looking at Tavondre Sweat, 72 overall. Xavier Worthy at 73. Max Melton, 70 overall. Will Drew, the other corner. It's a 68 overall. It is what it is there. And then you got Devontae Walker, 72 overall. And Rasheen Ali, a 66 overall. Pretty good players, man. I think for Brock Bowers, what I'm excited about is trying to see how he's going to develop with Herbert. I'm hoping he can kind of really shock the world here and kind of step up. So Brock Bowers, ready to roll here for these Los Angeles Chargers. This is our first pick in the draft. I think realistically this could happen. But again, it's just more weapons for this offense. I think this offense just needs it. When certain players went down like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, the team just looked like trash. So I'm excited to see what can happen there. Tavondre Sweat, he's a norm dev, but this guy's got all the right pieces, man. I think this guy could be a freak of nature, and I'm really, really hoping we're the best here in this guy, dude. I think he could be a nasty, nasty dog. So I'm hoping for Tavondre Sweat to step up. We got a crazy freaking dude that could take the top off an offense here in Xavier Worthy. 94 speed, 94 acceleration. We increase his release. I think this guy is going to be a freak. He's a very, very nasty looking receiver that could really that could do some good things, man. We're just gonna have to figure out how he's gonna make it work here. Let's give him a smaller number here. Zay Flowers-esque, number 4. We snagged up a corner here in Max Melton. He's a norm dev. I think he can do okay. Paired up with Asante Samuel's not a bad move. Snagging up another corner. Although he's a 68 overall, I think Will Drew is a very good player. He's got a good starting setup right now with a 70 man coverage, so he's going to scheme fit. 68 catching as a corner ain't bad as well. So I'm hoping we'll see some good things for them in the preseason. We just got to be smart with it, man, and hope these guys really work out. A player that fell, he's got a hidden dev, is Devontae Walker. I'm shocked he fell this far. He's got a good setup right now as far as route running. We get his release going. I think he can compete with players like Joshua Palmer on this team, and maybe even look to play on the outside against Mike Williams and Quentin Johnston. So I think this is a guy that could surprise some players. He could be that guy, similar to like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, depending what happens here. And then our last pick was Rasheen Ali out of Marshall. I like this guy knowing that he's got a crazy change of direction. He's a little bit smaller, but honestly, that ain't bad. You're talking about a guy that is going to be competing against not too crazy of a competition. You're talking about him going against players like Isaiah Spiller. So nothing wrong with that. We just got to hope that, you know, he can kind of find that chemistry with Justin Herbert. What I want to look at next is the competition in our division. What was snagged up here, who got grabbed where. So Nate Wiggins for the Broncos is their first pick, and then their quarterback, it looks like it's going to be Michael Pratt, who's a 67 overall, kind of a middle of the road. His short accuracy is actually very strong though, 84, 80 accuracy, 78 deep, I think, and 67 awareness. I don't think that's a bad move for the Broncos. I'm wondering if they take a veteran though. There's some veterans out there. Chiefs are up next, and the Chiefs go Lassiter, corner, who looks to be a ridiculous player. He out of Georgia, a very good corner, 75 overall. You're talking about them snagging up a right guard in Christian Haynes. Then they go Marshawn Floyd, just more depth on the running back position, and they snag up Cam Ward, who decided to declare for the draft out of Washington State, and he's not a bad player, man. He is not a bad player at all. I think him behind Mahomes is nothing wrong with that. And then they snag up Steel Chambers. That was the guy I was looking at in the 5th round, but I was like, maybe we can wait until the 6th. And he gets snagged up, 87 speed, 89 acceleration, 77 tackle. That's a very good late round pick. And then who is the other? Raiders. So the Raiders go ahead and they have a lot of picks. They go Drake May, who fell to them, surprisingly. Then they grab Jonah Ellis here, another hidden dev cat out of Utah. Very good looking player there. They get a chance to start over. They go Blake Corum here. Great decision. Norm Dev, I think this guy's got some grit though, man. He's a very good player. I think he, in my opinion, fits as a good leader potentially. So I'm hoping Blake Corum has a good future there behind Josh Jacobs, and maybe he could take over Zamir White's role. Curtis Jacobs gets snagged up for them. They get a center here in Matt Lee. They got a lot of picks, it looks like. My goodness. Good move for them. And then you're talking about Gabriel Murphy, followed by Renardo Green and Malik Mustafa at strong safety. So pretty good moves for these guys, man. I don't think there's nothing about what I'm seeing here is a bad decision. We got 58 players on our roster here for the Chargers. I think they're all good players, man. We're just going to have to figure out how it all works out. Hopefully we get to work and we get it going, but we will go ahead and advance it now. We'll advance it in the next episode and talk about any preseason free agents we grabbed. But that'll do it for us today, man. I think the Chargers are in a good spot. I think we did the right things. There are definitely some opportunity areas like the right outside linebacker position for sure. But I think we have some really good players here, man. The wide receiver group has gotten upgraded. We're going to see, what happens in the running back competition. We got Brock Bowers. I think that's going to be pretty neat right there. We're going to get a chance to see this O-line working as a group. Defensively, I think we got some good cats, man. I'm actually really excited to see how these guys kind of work together. On the corner group, I think the safety group needs some help. I could see a chance to see this D-line really attack, though. They're a scheme fit, man. It's going to be pretty fun. Man, we might even get a chance to even rock Devontae Walker at. That might be the move. See Walker play special teams. Kind of see how that works out. So it's going to be pretty fun. This team's in a good spot. Little by little, we'll get there, man. But until next time, if you like what you saw, everybody, please drop a like, leave a comment, Tell me what you think with these Chargers. Did we make all the right moves? And most importantly, subscribe to keep up with the series. Until next time, let's see if these bolts got any charge left. Have a good one, everyone.